Hello everyone, I welcome you to the April month International Affair Part 2. In the Part 1, we have seen international institutions as well as some country specific news, right? Now today we will see some initiatives and some bilateral relationship, and we'll focus on India-Nepal relationship. Now if you remember in the April month places in news, we have discussed the border dispute between India and Nepal. We will have a look at it, just revise it a bit, and we will include some other aspects. Okay, let us start. So first is the UN 75 initiative. UN 75 initiative is basically, just break it down, UN and 75. So it's an initiative related to United Nations, and 75 means 75th anniversary of United Nations from 1945 to 2020. Okay, so 75 years. Now 75 itself is very important. UN itself becomes very important for this year, from both prelims as well as from mains exam perspective. In the main exam, it becomes also important because India is elected as a non-permanent member of UNSC as well. Okay, so from that point of view, we also have to see. Coming back to this UN 75 initiative, so it's basically a dialogue thing. Okay, so in which the United Nations have asked for many of the responses from the people on different things. Okay, some of the responses have said that the climate and environment will affect humanity's future the most. Second, the conflict and the violence. Third, the health. Okay, so right. So as we've discussed, so the idea is to have a conversation, and they will seek the response of the people. Then in the September month, September 2020, they will come up with a report of all the responses. Then they will get more formal reports. We will discuss that when we'll come to it. Okay. So this document will become important, but not for you people. You people just have to see this from prelims and mains perspective. From main also, if any specific arguments will be there, we'll cover it. Okay. So this is UN 75 only. Next is MAIS program. So MAIS full form is Maritime Security in Eastern and South Africa and Indian Ocean. Okay. So maritime security, that is maritime MA. Okay. Then security, and then ESA-IO, Eastern and South Africa and Indian Ocean. So MAIS program is basically launched by, or is basically funded by European Union. Okay, it's European Union funded program, and it is taken in coordination with 4 regional organizations. Okay, and one of the regional organizations we have read IOC, that is Indian Ocean Commission. Okay, so under MAIS, Indian Ocean Commission has established a mechanism for surveillance and control of the Western Indian Ocean with 2 regional centers. Let us see from the name itself. So it is the maritime security. So this is the idea of, for example, seaborne terrorism, piracy that is there, so that this Indian Ocean region and this Eastern and Southern African region does not become a hub for the geopolitical rivalry among the big countries, right? One of the countries that we have seen is Vanilla Islands also. So we'll just discuss that. So the 4 organizations which are there, when we have read IOC, the 3 are not very important. You just need to know this. Okay. So 3 other organizations are IGAD, that is Intergovernmental Authority on Development. It has these countries, that is Eastern Africa. Okay. Then we have Eastern African Community, these center. Then we have both North, East and South African nations, that is Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA. Okay, I don't still think that is very important. IOC was important, and IOC we have covered. So what these basically things they do, these centers are responsible for limitations that the state in the region in facing the problem of policing and patrolling, because they have enormous EEZ, especially the island nations. Okay, so creating a deterrent against the maritime crime. Okay, so many of the countries that have signed, so they participate in this multilateral maritime security architecture, right? Once ratified, it will provide the legal foundations for it. Not very important the details of it, because India is not too much concerned with this. Now we have read about this IOC. So India is approved as an observer nation of the Indian Ocean region. Okay, what are the other nations are there in IOC? That is Comoros, Madagascar, Reunion, Mauritius, Seychelles. Okay, so we have discussed that in detail in the March month. Now I'll put the reference also here, so that you can go out and revise from the PDF or from the video itself. These are the vanilla islands that we have discussed, right? So Seychelles, Madagascar, Reunion, Mauritius, Comoros, and Mayotte, all these nations are known as the vanilla island, because from these islands a lot of vanilla extract is also exported to many of the nations. Okay. Okay, next is COVID action platform. So COVID action platform is World Economic Forum's initiative. So it is being launched by the World Economic Forum with the idea that it aims to convene the businesses community for collective action, protect people livelihood, and mobilize support for the COVID-19 response. Okay, so this is basically a initiative driven by the World Economic Forum. Very easy. I don't think that's really important, but still, because from the name itself you cannot decipher what it is basically for. You can see obviously for COVID-19, but which organization is behind it. So it is World Economic Forum. So this is COVID action platform. Then again, not very important, that is animal disease detective program. So now recently India has become part of this animal disease detective program in India's Asia Pacific region, and majority of the countries you will see are also from this region only, Asia Pacific region. So Cambodia, Fiji, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, some of the ASEAN country, some of the countries that are in the FIPIC. Okay, the island Pacific nations. So Solomon Island, Vanuatu, Vietnam, right? So it's a 3-year program funded by the Indo-Pacific Center for Health Security at the Australian Department of Foreign Trade and Affairs and Trade. Not important. Okay, just remember that the Animal Disease Directive Program, India has now recently become a member, and it includes the country from the Asia and Pacific. That's all information is required. Now, you know the significance of this, because animal rearing is a very important part of Indian agriculture, right? In fact, it is said that the investment into agriculture, animal rearing, if done at a very good scale along with the food processing industry, is the only way to reach the target of the doubling the farmer's income. Okay, that is said to be, because one of the models that is being seen, the case study of, I think, Odisha was the one state which was able to achieve this doubling the farmer income, and they were able to do it just because of their investment in the animal rearing, right? Next is COVID access agreement. So this is with respect to COVID only. Okay, so various countries are signing this agreement. Basically the idea is to, if you sign this agreement, then the idea is to give equal access to the new coronavirus vaccine when it will be developed, and the treatment. If not the vaccine, then the antiviral treatment. If we come about a treatment with respect to this coronavirus, then it will be distributed across the nations with the principles of equity. Okay, so the idea is it is being launched by the WHO. Okay, so the equitable global access to innovative tools for COVID-19 for all, right? Next is fast track financing, again related to the COVID-19. Okay, so it is being launched by the World Bank. Idea is to support the countries in their effort to fight COVID-19 as well as wide range of the consequences in the post-COVID world. So not only COVID-19 but also the problems that are being faced post-COVID-19, because we have discussed that because of the COVID-19, not only the problems with respect to this health problems are coming, but also the consequences of it, whether it be the malnutrition, whether it is the problem of the food security, whether it be arranging the resource for the another diseases, right? We have discussed so many diseases, isn't it, in the science section. So those diseases have not been eliminated, right? So for that purpose we also need financing, right? One initiative is with respect to the financing those who create the vaccines. So it is called vaccine bonds. Okay, it's not a new concept. In 2006, International Finance Facility for Immunization, IFFIM, that is International Finance Facility for Immunization, has launched the vaccine bonds, okay, against the long-term donor pledges. So World Bank is a trustee. So the idea is to give money to the Gavi, that is Global Alliance for Vaccine, right? Now, so as to fund these organizations, we need long-term funds, because vaccine takes around 10 years to make a vaccine. for a particular disease, right? So that requires long-term funding, and for that purposes these vaccine bonds are launched. So this is launched by this particular institution. So remember that. Okay, so it is helping Gavi. Gavi is, we have already discussed Gavi once, but just to reiterate, we are again discussing it. That is Global Alliance for the Vaccine Initiative. Okay, so it's a global health partnership of the public and the private sector dedicated to the idea of immunization of the all. It is backed by many of the institutes. It is not a single centric institute such as WHO, but Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WHO is there, World Bank is there, UNICEF is there, who arranged all these bulk buys of the vaccines, especially for the poor country. Okay, so you can see a lot of institutions are involved. Bill and Melinda Gates, some non-profit organizations, research agencies, private sector, vaccine manufacturers, and everyone is involved. Gavi also now currently is also working on the vaccine for coronavirus. So now we have seen initiatives and summits. Now we will discuss some bilateral thing. Starting with India and Nepal. So India and Nepal border is very important. So you know that India and Nepal have an open border, right? Running across Uttarakhand, UP, Bihar, West Bengal and Sikkim. One important thing can be asked, they can ask you to arrange this border. First of all, they can ask you which are the states which are touching Nepal. Okay, that will be an easy question. Second question can be arranged in terms of the length being shared with Nepal. That will be a relatively more tricky question. Okay. So you have to take care of it. So it is under which treaty? Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1950. Now this is an internal security batch basically slide. I have kept it so because that's a topic in your internal security, right? Just one second. Indian the border challenges, the border management and border challenges. Okay, so India-Nepal border also have a lot of challenges. Why? Because of the open nature of the border, some countries like Pakistan use the Nepal to enter some miscreants into this India also. Okay, so some activity from ISI and extremism, land grabbing is also there. Maoist and LWE, some say that some support to the Maoist and LWE also comes from Nepal because some of the parties in the Nepals are also communist parties. Okay, open border, organized crime also is there. Some of the smuggling problem is there. Okay, but for our prelims purposes, first of all, let us see the 5 states for Uttarakhand, UP, then Bihar, then West Bengal and then Sikkim. So remember the West Bengal also touches it. Okay, but West Bengal touches more than Sikkim. 100 and Sikkim is 99. Okay, so highest is UP, then it is Bihar, then it is Uttarakhand, then it is West Bengal, and then this is Sikkim. So remember this table. If you do not want to remember this table, just remember the descending order or ascending order of the in terms of the border with respect to the Nepal, because that can come into our examination. Okay. Now India-Nepal border dispute, we have already discussed that in detail. This particular area, this cake-like shape area is there. One angle is Limpiadhura, second is Lipu Lake, and the third is Gunji. In between the Kalapani region is also there, which was already disputed. Now the Nepal is asking for more land. Okay, we have also discussed why this was there. This goes back to the Treaty of Sagoli and the demarcation of from the origin of the river Kali. So it is being disputed from this place, which is the real river, whether it goes to east, okay, or whether it goes to west. India says that it goes there. This is India's claim. Okay, so that this territory is of India, but Nepal says no, this is the real one. Right? We have discussed all that in April month's Places in News. Please do see in that video. I have very clearly discussed what are the problems, what are the context in which the border dispute has come. So the context was the road that was being built unilaterally by India from the Harchula to Lipu Lake. Now, according to India, it is not a disputed thing, but Nepal says it was a disputed thing and you should not have done that. Okay, based upon that, I have given also one question in the mains master as well, in our mains master series, that India-Nepal special relationship is the cause of the problem between India and Nepal. So one of the points that I have written there, that because of this, Nepal thinks that because you say that we have a special relationship, it gives impunity to India India can do anything. They can take these unilateral actions without any impunity. And just because they say that they have a special relationship with Nepal, Nepal will not say anything. Nepal will just accept whatever India says. And this is not right. Okay. So this is how the context of the dispute was there. In the mains exam as well, this question can be asked. So these are the areas that we have already discussed: Limpia, Dhura, Kala Pani, Lipu Lake. Please do see that. One area was left out, that is Susta area. Okay, this is another one disputed area, but not a very big dispute unlike the earlier one. Okay, so it is in the Bihar. You can see the location, the issue is in Bihar, and those issue was near to the Uttarakhand. Okay, so disputed territory between India and Nepal, you can see Bihar, and this is at the boundary only, located at the Gandak river. Now, basically, what is the issue? Okay, it is called Narayani in the Nepal, it is called Gandak in the south. Now, because of the shifting river, okay, earlier in 1816, this is the river. It is said that the river eastern part is of India and the western part is of Nepal. Very easy. Just 1 second. Let us have a good clear map. So eastern part is said to be India and the western part is said to be Nepal. Okay. So in the current situation, you can see Susta is located in the eastern part. So India claims it. Okay, it is a part of India because currently it is in the eastern part. But before that, at 1816, for example, the river was like that only. River was like that. So river kept on shifting. So when the river is like that, the Susta will be on the western side. And when it will be on the western side, it will be part of the Nepal. Okay. So Nepal will maintain that the Gandak course in 1860 to be taken as the fixed international boundary. Nepal will say, okay, whatever situation was in 1816, at the time Sagoli Treaty was signed, we should treat that as a demarcation boundary, not the present one. But India will say, no. Abhi, in the current times, it is in our territory. Hence, it is the right thing. So, this is being the cause of the dispute. I hope you get this from the very basic, this map only. Next is, we have discussed in before as well. So, India-Nepal agreement for China-Nepal agreement for connectivity, trans-Himalayan connectivity. So connecting Kathmandu to China. Okay. So it is a part of the BRI itself, Belt and Road Initiative of China. Okay. So this is a part of Trans-Himalayan Multidimensional Connectivity Network umbrella announced in 2018 to provide all-weather connectivity to China and Nepal. Sorry, I always remember India and China. No. India and Nepal. So you can see from China here, and they will build this. So from this area to this area, the rail line is already there. Then they want to extend it to this place. However, the investment and infrastructure creation in this area is very, very tough. That is being said that though Nepal is not creating its options with the other nations such as China, but India's relation with India are not only historical, but also are cheap. For example, creating infrastructure here is easy than creating infrastructure there. But still China is doing better in terms of the delivery deficit. Delivery deficit at India's level, it's very, very poor. Okay. So this is being the road being built. Next is check post of Viratnagar. So we have already discussed that also, Viratnagar. So the first check post, integrated check post, was there in between Raxaul and Birgunj. Okay. This is Birgunj and Raxaul from Indian side. Now the second one being open in the Viratnagar and Jogbani. Okay. So this is the map, for example. So this is from Indian side, Raxaul and Jogbani. Okay. So Jogbani, they will include Viratnagar here. Okay. Right. So what is this integrated check post? We actually have covered that in the January month also. So what is this check post basically? So for example, when the vehicle from one place to other or any person from one place to the other goes, so many facilities are provided so as to facilitate the transportation. Okay. So for example, weighing machine, CCTV, all the public facilities, right? Immigration counter is there, health checkup. You can see many things are there. Parking, taxi service, waiting area, cafeteria, public conveyance. So that the For example, especially the cargo terminal, especially the trade becomes more seamless. So it is part of a ease of doing business across the border. Okay, right. Next is Motihari and Amlekganj pipeline. We have covered it in September, but again why we are covering, because we are discussing in holistically India Nepal relationship. So it is the first transnational petroleum pipeline from India to Nepal, from Motihari to Amlekganj. There will be many first South Asian oil pipeline, first oil pipeline in Nepal. So a lot of benefits. Obviously, the pilferage will not be there. More efficiently, the water can with this the oil can be sent from India to Nepal. Okay, deeper engagements with Nepal. It gives Indian oil a captive customer as well. Okay, so Nepal will become a customer for Indian oil. Next is Pancheshwar project. Pancheshwar project we have already discussed in detail in location in news. But one detail was left out. That was, it is at the confluence of two rivers, that is Mahakali and Sarju. Okay. So let us also see the map. In this map you can very clearly see this is the Sarju river. Okay, Sarju river, and this is the Mahakali river, and at the confluence we have this Pancheshwar highway high dam project. Okay. So remember, it's a confluence of the two rivers, because these projects being in news becomes very important to discuss these issues as well. Next, in December we have covered that India Nepal coordination meeting. So they have said that a third country, they have not named the third country, but that third country is not China but Pakistan. Okay, so third country should not be used. Operatives of this third country, that is ISI people or other terrorist outfits belonging to Pakistan or sanctioned by Pakistan or getting patronage from Pakistan, should not use the Nepal territory against the operation against the India. Okay, so this is there. So this is a coordination between India and the Nepal. Then there are many treaties being signed in India and Nepal. Not very important to go into detail of it, but I'll try to cover the rivers that are discussed here in our June month places in news. Okay, because these rivers become some more important because of India and Nepal dispute. So I'll try to cover this from many perspective. So for example, we have Kosi agreement, Gandak agreement, Tanakpur barrage agreement, Mahakali is very important. Okay, then some apart from India Nepal, some other issues. So medical diplomacy. Now India has helped many of the nations with respect to, because India is a pharmaceutical the pharmaceutical capital of the world, it is said, right? The generic medicines from India go to a lot of places. India itself occupy around 20% of the total generic drug exports. So medical diplomacy is one of the big component of India, and that was there. And just one more fact, that India is also a founding member of the CEPI. We have already discussed CEPI, right? That is Coalition for Epidemic and Innovation, Preparedness and Innovation. So what are the factors that drive India's medical diplomacy? Let us very quickly discuss, and that is, let's get it over with. So India's global presence and high drug exports. So India exports around $20 billion worth of medicines to all over the world. Generic medication, recently the schemes that we have seen, Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana, right? Then traditional medicine, Ayush, Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Naturopathy and Homeopathy, Siddha. Then vaccine manufacturing is also very critical and very important component of India's medical industry, right? Bharat Biotech institutes such as Bharat Biotech have done really well to build up vaccines. Then training of the health professionals, for example, telemedicines, for example, E-Arogya Nidhi for India in Africa, Pan E-India network. So on that basis, we are helping countries in Africa. Then medical tourism, you all know, right? India is a hub for medical tourism all around the world. So these are the factors that drive the medical diplomacy of India. That question can come in your main exam as well. Okay, so medical diplomacy is an important component. What are the advantages India have in this regard? So we are done with our session. I know that not very exciting session or not very important news are there, but we have to cover all these aspects as well. So let us quickly finish, let us revise and finish this session. So we started with the UN 75 initiative, right? 75th anniversary of United Nations coming up with a open and inclusive process of having dialogue with people. Then MACE program, having 4 regional organization including IOC that we have discussed. Okay, then Indian Ocean region and Vanilla Island again we revisited. Please refer these months again, please refer these months PDF if you want to revise these things. Then COVID action platform of World Economic Forum, then animal disease detection program, then that is Asia Pacific countries, then COVID access agreement, especially WHO initiated, that is an equitable distribution of the treatment of vaccine if it is there. Then fast track financing by World Bank. Then we have discussed international finance facility for immunization, IIFM, so that is for Gavi. Then we have discussed Gavi as well. Okay, then India Nepal border, various aspects we have discussed in detail about Susta dispute. Then India China Inc road connectivity deal, right? Roll and railway, both connectivity deals are there. Then check post at Biratnagar, so second being built. First is Raksol at Birgunj, and second is Jogmani and Biratnagar. Then Motihari Amlekganj pipeline, then Panchmeshwar project we have discussed, and finally we ended with India Nepal coordination meeting and the medical diplomacy. Okay, so with this we finish our session, and see you in the next class, everyone. So we are done with April month IR1, IR2, and April month governance is over. So we'll finish the May month, and then we'll come back to the polity. Some 6 subjects are left out, and we'll complete it very quickly. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next class. Bye bye for now.